AMD just posted a monster product quarter but walked straight into a geopolitical pothole. Blockbuster demand for Zen 5 Ryzen and EPYC helped push revenue to record levels, yet export controls on the Instinct MI308 forced roughly $800 million of inventory-related charges that will pinch AMD in the short to medium term. Long term? Short/medium term casualty. The MI308 story in plain English. AMD built a fleet of Instinct MI308 accelerators intended for data center customers, including China. Then US export controls tightened on certain advanced AI chips, creating a scenario where AMD's MI308 inventory couldn't be shipped without licenses. The upshot: AMD took roughly $800 million in inventory-related charges in the quarter, a direct hit to margins and near-term earnings. That is the exact sort of business pain that makes a company a short-term casualty. Not because the product failed, but because policy changed the rules overnight. Imagine you baked 1 million croissants for a city. Right before the truck leaves, Customs says, "Not today." You still paid for flour, ovens and bakers, and now you're holding pastries that can only be sold later, or at a discount. That's inventory write-down economics in a bakery outfit. Why this cuts beyond a quarterly line item? That $800 million number is more than a headline. It compresses margins, introduces revenue timing risk, and forces management to rethink supply, product design, and market strategy. Even if the chips ultimately ship later or get relicensed, a delayed revenue stream and inventory markdown change investor expectations for profitability and cash flows for several quarters. Investors price the immediate pain. That's why AMD can report record revenue and still see short-term selling pressure. The options AMD has, and the cost of each. Faced with blocked shipments, AMD basically has 3 strategic lanes it can accelerate, and each costs time or margin. Secure licenses for existing chips. This is the fastest path to turning the inventory back into cash, but licenses depend on government review and approval cycles over which AMD has limited control. It's the hopeful get the stamp and ship route. Build compliant, lower capability variants for restricted markets. Think of this as a light MI308 that fits within export rules. Technically feasible but often less profitable. You sell a lower margin product into a market that used to buy the premium item. NVIDIA has done similar, and so far has designed compliant chips for restricted markets. That means near-term revenue recovery, but at lower realized blended ASPs. Rapidly diversify the customer base and shipment footprint. If China demand is throttled, AMD can push more inventory to other regions, win hyperscaler deals outside China, or accelerate partnerships in allied markets. This requires sales motion, OEM approvals, and sometimes discounting, again, not free. It's like a coffee roaster whose single big cafe market is closed. They can get customs to allow the shipments, create a weaker, decaf version that still sells, or ship the beans to other cafes. Each option has costs and time lags. By the way, if you are benefiting from the content so far and want more like this, like the video, it means much to me. Hit the subscribe button, turn on the notifications bell, and comment the word more. Just go ahead and type the word more so I know. Now that you have commented, let's continue. Short-term bookkeeping versus medium-term competitive pain. A license or redesigned chip can erase the accounting pain over time, but the selling dynamics and margin mix shift for quarters. Combined with investor impatience, that's why AMD looks more like a casualty in the short and medium term even if the long-term product roadmap is strong. This isn't just AMD's headache, NVIDIA and Intel feel it too. Don't single out AMD like it's the only dog getting rained on. US export controls reshaped the market for advanced AI accelerators across multiple vendors. NVIDIA publicly signaled similar impacts to China sales and has adjusted product and forecasting practices accordingly. Intel is also navigating limits on certain accelerators and the broader complexity of selling into a bifurcated global market. In short, this is an industry-wide geopolitical stress test, not merely an AMD-only hiccup. Analogy: the storm didn't just topple one stall in the market, it flooded the whole bazaar. When the floodwaters rise, everyone has to move inventory, shore up stock, and sometimes rebuild booths in new neighborhoods. Why that matters for AMD's strategy and investor sentiment. If everyone is hurt, AMD's relative position matters more than absolute pain. AMD can be down but still be winning share, and that's what preserves the long-term thesis. However, when the entire sector faces the same policy winds, liquidity and multiple compression can sweep many winners downward in the short term. That's the sector risk investors care about. How AMD can adapt quickly. Concrete moves. Here are pragmatic moves AMD should prioritize to shorten the casualty window. Engage regulators aggressively and transparently. Faster license approval would be the cleanest fix. AMD's investor relations and government affairs teams need to be front and center. Fast-track compliant product variants. Engineering work and SoC revalidation can be shortened with focused resources. Expect lower margins but also resumed revenue flows. Redeploy sales/geography muscle. Push inventory to hyperscalers and cloud customers outside China. Deepen OEM partnerships in EMEA/APAC, non-China, and consider contract incentives to quickly move product. Hedge via pricing and cost control. Tighten OPEX while the inventory issue resolves to protect margins on the rest of the product base. Now for the happier drumbeat. AMD has materially closed competitive gaps with both Intel, CPUs, and NVIDIA, GPUs, across important vectors. Against Intel, CPU's Zen microarchitecture improvements and Zen 5 launches have been widely acknowledged as allowing AMD to win design and share gains in both client and server spaces. Client revenue surges, desktop and laptop, are not just cyclical, they reflect architectural parity or advantage in many workloads. Against NVIDIA, GPUs and AI accelerators, NVIDIA remains dominant in high-end AI accelerators, but AMD's Instinct family and EPYC Plus RCM software stack have dramatically improved AMD's competitiveness in specific workloads and cloud deals. The MI series, even with MI 308 licensing hurdles, and EPYC traction show AMD is a credible platform alternative when architecture and cost/time fit customers' needs and is symbolically 200X. Note this as well. Fear God, and give glory to Him, for the hour of His judgment is come, and worship Him that made heaven, and earth, and the sea, and the fountains of waters. And there followed another angel, saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead, or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels, and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night. Who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. Here is the patience of the saints, here are they that keep the commandments of God, and the faith of Jesus. Revelation 14 verses 7-12. If we fully obey the Lord, the Creator of heaven and earth, and carefully follow all His commandments, He has promised to set us high above all the nations of the earth. Deuteronomy 28. We shall be blessed when we come in and when we go out. I appeal to you to accept God and let Him be your guide, for He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid, do not be discouraged. Deuteronomy 31 verse 8. Want more information? Please check the description section. That's the end for now. If you have watched until the end, drop a comment like this: I stayed until the end. Just comment that I stayed until the end. When I see this comment, I will give you a heart. 3 more favors I request from you. First, like this video, subscribe and then turn on the notifications bell. If you do this, you greatly encourage me to continue bringing to you insightful content. Do not miss out on our future videos full of insight. All I am asking is your subscription. Thanks for joining us today. Your support means so much to us. Do not hesitate to share this video to help someone who may benefit. I recommend that you watch the next video. subscribe to the channel and share your thoughts about today's video. Wish you God's blessings and care. Faith and prayer will do what no power on earth can accomplish. See you in the next video by God's mercy.